Hi, Thomas.
People hear us?
Oh, last Friday, I think, had it up.
Can't tell. Thomas, can you hear us?
Is there a chat also on this one?
Last Friday. Friday or Thursday?
Oh, it could have been Thursday night, right?
That was
That one
probably,
gets real big.
that was probably Thursday. Pick up my son from work there and
I know we're like letting all the flies in the neighborhood in.
No, but.
Who's gonna be here is here. We'll give it maybe one more minute and then we'll start this party off. All right. I'm wondering if I should open the other door to let people in. We shall see.
Thursday morning.
We've got people still joining.
This here has been my setup at a few rides.
So cool. Did you make the trailer yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, you used, looks like 1-inch aluminum. Did you weld it or just bolt it
So
together?
the trailer is actually like it's one of those cargo hitch carriers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, one of those aluminum ones.
Yeah, from what do you call it, Harbor Freight?
Yeah, 6 feet long. It's like I just bolted on some aluminum.
Thomas can't really hear us.
Yeah, that's excellent.
I have a passenger back there. And
Works pretty well.
I don't even carry a license.
Oh, does that jet engine back though?
No, that's
That's a Genesis.
that's a very fatty sound system. It's very, very loud. I got a tiara for my passenger.
I totally spaced
That's a
Joanna
requirement.
being the microphone.
Riding in it, you have to wear the tiara. That's okay.
I was gonna say we might have to open the door again.
The Harbor Freight rack.
Yeah, because I didn't know how to weld aluminum, so.
Yeah, that's, I was looking at doing it in steel tubing.
Hi, hello, hello.
I didn't have access to welding at the time, so I had an instructor in class.
Alrighty.
Well, I do it in,
I do.
one is do it channel.
Because I
He said,
have the thing.
"Well, I won't have any problem."
Make a quick sign in. If people want to do that, we can leave it at that table. And people can just do it when they get around to it. Is the audio a little better on Zoom now, or is it still difficult to hear? And you can write in the chat if you're not comfortable with speaking also. Alrighty,
We
well.
can hear you.
You can hear us. Good stuff. Awesome. Well, it sounds like we'll start this party off. So I am Jessica Ward. I am the chair. We will get right into the meeting agenda. Today is August 30th, 2022. We are at Woody Guthrie Place. And first things first, we will go to the agreements for LNA general membership meetings. Please avoid speaking out of turn and interruption, personalization of negative feedback, talking down to others, placing blame, or being disrespectful. Do assume good intentions, respect the agenda, facilitators, and process. If you've already spoken tonight, consider making space for others to feel heard. Respect different viewpoints, respect boundaries, offer constructive criticism or propose solutions. Welcome new members and guests, get involved. Please note, breaking any of our agreements may be grounds for removal from the meeting at the discretion of the facilitator. Hate speech of any kind will not be tolerated. We aim for this to be a safe space for everyone, and we invite you to help us maintain it. Awesome, wonderful. Okay, and then who shall be our timekeeper this evening? Would you like me to do that, or do you?
I can do it.
Okay, perfect. So our lovely public safety chair, Jasmine, has volunteered to be our timekeeper this evening. We have not convened in quite a while, so we're going to try to stick to the time as much as we can because we have a ton of stuff to get to tonight. I suspect we may go over and have to push some of this stuff to the next meeting. So try to keep our comments short and sweet. Okay, great. And then the first item on the agenda is to approve minutes from our last general meeting. Do we have those on hand?
That would be the June general meeting.
Right.
And I don't believe that, I guess we didn't think with Nancy not here.
Okay, so we just want to acknowledge that first things first, then we'll just get right into it. We are seeking a secretary. We no longer have a secretary in the LNA. So there's that. Yes.
Could I make 3 motions regarding that?
Sure, do it. Go for it.
Motion number 1, I'd like to make a motion that the resignation of Nancy Keating as LNA secretary submitted via email on August 17th, 2022 be accepted.
I would second that motion.
Can we call for a question? We don't need to discuss it.
Does anybody have any questions?
Discussion.
I have a question. Why did she resign?
She didn't say that I know of.
I would suspect that she said she was event planner at her full-time job, and she wouldn't be able to attend the next few meetings because she was overwhelmed. And with the responsibilities of that and the responsibilities as secretary here, she was a little flustered. So I would think that she chose her paying job over this one. But I haven't spoken to her, so.
Any more questions or discussion?
Doesn't sound like it. We will continue.
Can we have a vote then?
Oh, yeah, go for it.
This is a vote to accept the resignation of Nancy Keating, secretary of LNA board.
Yes.
Raise your hand. You say yes.
Sounds like it's unanimous amongst the board members that are here as well. And just while we're on the subject, I want us to
Point of order.
know,
So in a general meeting, everybody's vote counts. It's
Yeah.
not just the board members, right?
absolutely, but just before you say that, if you could hold
No, I was
off on comments really quick before we, get into it, because it's gonna make the meeting way longer.
I was going
But-
to ask if anybody opposed.
Okay, sure, go for it.
Is there any opposition to accepting Nancy's resignation? So there are 0 opposed.
Our vice chair, Joanna, is not able to join us this evening, so I just wanted to, have that on the record for the evening as well. Awesome. Did you want to propose another motion?
Yes. I make the motion that in accordance with LNA bylaws, Article 7, Section 4, the LNA secretary position be filled by election at the LNA annual meeting, which is September general meeting to be held on September 27th, 2022. Would anybody like to second that?
I'll second that.
My question for clarification is, you want to leave the secretary position open until September, which is only a month.
I'm just, the motion is that the position be filled by election at the LNA meeting, which is September 27th, 2022.
Yes, thank you.
So shall we have a vote then?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
So those in favor? That's 9. And is there any opposition? And nobody's sustaining, okay.
Hopefully we can get someone to volunteer themselves.
Well, that's my next motion.
Yeah,
That's-
that would be,
That's the next motion.
we're presuming. So, yeah,
So the next motion, I'd like to make a motion that the LNA secretary vacancy opportunity, including job requirements, be posted on the LNA website and on the LNA Facebook by Thursday, September 1st, 2022. So could we vote on that?
I'll second.
Seconded? Thank you.
My question is, do we have a Lentz secretary job description readily available?
Yeah, there's one through the, through EPN, I believe it. I can forward that to, I guess you, since you do the Facebook, don't you, Jasmine?
You
So
want
do
this
what?
you want the secretary's job description posted to Facebook and our website by Thursday?
September 1st. Yeah, I guess that's Thursday. Would that
I'm
be-
gonna abstain and say if she's comfortable with doing that by then. I don't know what your schedule is or your responsibilities are. If you have time, great. If you don't, I'm not gonna hold you to that date and hold your feet to the fire to do that at a certain time or day. So, I'll abstain for the vote. Do you guys want to continue on
Do
the
we
vote?
want to have discussion?
Yeah.
Just a point of clarity is that you have to give like a month's notice for an election. So, you know, if we want to go and elect the secretary at the annual meeting per the bylaws, well, that's September 27th, we'd be giving them less. Yeah, I don't think somebody's going to quibble about being short 3 days, but according to bylaws, and we only have our lousy bylaws, that's.
I mean, I could post it right now while we sit here in this meeting. I just need a PDF of the job description, and I'm not willing to write up a job description or cut and copy and paste anything to make
And
one.
neither am I. That's
For
why I
sure.
would that's why I go back to the EPN website, look for it, copy it, and I'll send it off.
Yeah, as long as we're good with that one, like, I'm good with that too.
Okay, thank you. So we've got one person abstaining. Those who are in favor of the motion to post the LNA vacancy opportunity, including job requirements on the LNA website and LNA Facebook page by Thursday, September 1st. Those in favor, raise your hand. 5, 6, 7. Those opposed? Anybody in opposition? Okay. And 2 abstain then. Okay. Thank you. And in the meantime, as Jasmine was saying, 4th motion, I make a motion that in the interim, a board member be delegated to assume the LNA secretary duties at the LNA board and general meetings between this evening's general meeting till the LNA annual meeting at the September 27th, 2022 general meeting, and that this acting secretary be identified at the start of each board or general meeting. Would you guys like to vote on that?
Do you have a second?
Oh, was there a second? Pardon me.
I'm gonna abstain until I look into the rules, because I don't know if a board member can hold 2 titles. But if they can't, I want to look into it for myself, so I'm gonna abstain from this vote.
Okay. So is there a second or not?
Second.
Second, okay. Thank you, Lauren.
Also, who are we voting
Yeah,
for
so
to do that?
I guess my
I don't
discussion,
know.
Yeah, that's, I'm like, we're presuming a lot right
Well,
now.
This is just, well,
Yeah,
the secretary resigned, so we had to accept her resignation. And then we have to have it filled. And then in order to have it filled, we have to have it posted. And then now if we're approving if someone would like to step forward to fill that position, we haven't identified that, but are we going to agree that somebody can do that?
are you volunteering?
No.
Oh.
You do
That
not.
makes all the difference in the
I
world.
have to type everything up ahead of time. I'm a very slow reader, as you know, and my note taking is even worse than that.
Okay. Okay, well, do you guys want to hold the vote?
Questions?
Points of clarity again, according to bylaws, we can delegate somebody to take, if let's say the chairperson is not in, well, then the vice chair takes over. So we do need a note taker, we do need a secretary. That was a problem that came up in 2019. We went a whole year without a secretary because the person did not show up and nobody appointed a secondary person to take notes. So even if you want to just call yourself note taker, but we do need to have a note taker.
So
I-
we've kind of decided that we were gonna maybe alternate doing it if you
Yeah,
feel comfortable
but
with
I
that.
don't feel comfortable being voted in to be delegated to the secretary job. And I'll tell you why, because it's not just note taking. The secretary, as far as the LNA is concerned, is responsible for MailChimp, is responsible for bringing printed notes, is responsible for posting the videos to YouTube. It's not
Your
just
name
taking
on the
notes and
Secretary
making
of
minutes.
State, all, it goes, the list goes on.
And
So-
so I'm down to take notes for a meeting and bring some minutes, but I'm not down to be voted as the person taking over the
Well, we're
secretary.
not asking that. We're just asking that, that the opportunity opens up for someone to be delegated. I'm not saying who's going to delegate. It depends on who wants to volunteer.
Well, then I think an amendment to your motion, and it's not delegating secretary position and responsibility, it's delegating note-taking and minute producing.
Okay, that's a friendly amendment, I would say. So to assume note-taking duties, would that be fine? So if I amend the motion, I make a motion that in the interim, a board member be delegated to assume note-taking duties. Whoops, that's my notation. Note-taking duties at LNA board and general meetings between this evening's general meeting till the LNA meeting at the September 27th, 2022 general meeting. And this acting note taker be identified at the start of each board or general meeting. So does that sound okay? Do we have a second on that? Okay, no seconds, so the motion dies. Okay,
Alrighty, if there's nothing else, we will get back to the agenda. We have a guest speaker here, so we will pull the community happenings back until the presentation from our wonderful guest speaker here from Portland Street Response. We will allow you to introduce yourself and have the floor.
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Britt Urban, and I'm a supervisor with Portland Street Response. I began as a mental health crisis responder when it first launched back in February 2021, and then just recently transitioned to a supervisor position. Not sure who all is familiar with PSR, but I'll tell you a little bit about it. So Portland Street Response actually launched here in the Lens neighborhood for a good portion of the pilot year, and then expanded slowly to the east side, and then finally citywide in March of this year. And we are dispatched through the 911 system, respond to mental health and behavioral health crises in public spaces and in businesses. We don't currently go into residences or respond to kind of higher acuity situations where someone might be suicidal or other things like that. So a lot of it is out in the streets, out in public spaces. So a lot of the calls we go on are situations where someone's like in distress or causing a disturbance outside or in a business. And so our role a lot of times is to try to help de-escalate and, you know, offer resources, referrals. Our teams are made up of mental health crisis responders, so someone who has a background in mental health, and then paired with an EMT, so someone who can address kind of low acuity medical situations that might come up as well. And then, so they respond to the initial call that comes through 911. And then we have community health workers and peer support specialists on our team that can also do aftercare support. So if we interact with someone who does need referrals, resources, support, ongoing case management, we can refer to them to work with the person ongoing. And so that's kind of how it works. We're currently, like I said, operating citywide now. And we are, it's operating 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. And we, 7 days a week now, finally. But we are still kind of scaling up our staffing. So staffing has unfortunately been an issue, but we are in the process of hiring a lot of new people right now and onboarding and training. So within the next month to 2 months, the goal is to be 24/7 and have enough staffing to handle our really high call volume. And what else can I tell you? I think that's a good overview. I don't know if you have questions. Yeah.
Can you dial anything other than 911? I thought 311 was going to be involved shortly, or?
No, so currently it's just 911 and the non-emergency number. But currently the non-emergency number is experiencing like really long wait times. And if you wait long enough, I think your call drops off. So the dispatch center is telling people to call through 911 if it is a mental health crisis, because that'll get you to the triage. And like, oh, I forgot to say there are situations that would exclude us from being dispatched, and those are situations where there might be a weapon, there's violence happening, there's a crime in progress, or it's in a residence. Those are kind of the primary things that would exclude us.
Is that the reason why the calls are being vetted from 911 versus you guys having your own number?
So we are, yeah, we're currently part of the fire bureau. We're embedded in the fire bureau. So currently it is through 911, and there's been a lot of questions by community about like, will there ever be a way to call through a different system? Because I know that there is a lot of fear and distrust of the 911 system for some people. So that, I think that's not probably in the near future, but I know it's definitely something that's being thought about. So yeah.
The one question that I had, because I was just thinking something that we might want to share, in the community is the job opportunities.
Oh, yeah.
Can you expand on that? How many people are you guys looking to hire? What's the wages, job requirements, things like that?
So currently we are still recruiting kind of ongoing continuous until the positions get filled for mental health crisis responders. And there's two levels of responders. So it's the mental health responder ones. Generally the requirement is a bachelor's degree and then a background in social services and mental health. And then the higher level mental health responder 2 is someone who is a qualified mental health professional at least, and potentially licensed as well. And so those are kind of two of the opportunities. We also are currently recruiting for peer support specialists, which are people who have their own lived experience with either mental health or substance use challenges and can provide kind of a different support for people going through crisis than maybe like a mental health professional. And then we also have community health workers that we're recruiting for who would do more like the linking to services and providing referrals and connecting people to the services that they need. What else are we recruiting for? I believe we are recruiting for a community outreach and engagement specialist who would be part of events in the community, and we do these pop-up kind of clinics at Lentz Park and that kind of thing. So those kinds of things. So those are the primary ones that we're recruiting for now. Yeah, and sorry. Yeah.
First of all, thank you for coming here. Glad to hear about this.
Yeah.
So I have a couple questions, if I may. First, I think you said there's a high call on.
There is currently, yeah.
So I think that is a pretty good sign that a lot of the calls that would traditionally been routed to the police are going in your direction. Is that right?
Yeah, a majority of the calls that come to us would have normally gone to police. And so we have every single day there's a queue of calls that we kind of just work through, and we're like limiting it to 5 in the queue at a time, but there's always more waiting. So yeah, we are kind of assisting police in those calls that they normally would take. So a lot of like those lower acuity situations out on the streets, or people who are like they're called down unchecked calls, where someone's maybe laying on the sidewalk and it's unclear if they're doing well or doing okay. So we go and check on people like that. So.
Great, thank you. And if I may have one more question.
Mm-hmm.
So how has the safety been for your staff in terms of the calls?
So far it's been, for the most part, like our approach, we always survey the scene for safety concerns or risks before we step out of the vehicle, and we kind of get a lay of the land before we would even approach. And then we have a lot of training around what's a safe distance and like signs that someone might be escalating or like maybe at risk of violence, those kinds of things. So that's a part of kind of how we approach every incident situation. And luckily, knock on wood, we haven't had any safety incidents that no one's been injured or assaulted or anything like that. So definitely there's been situations that are dicey, but I think that's somewhat to be expected with the types of calls we're going on. So yeah. Yeah.
I'm curious, do you guys, because I've heard of a couple situations, at least Hampton and some other spots, do you guys have somebody experienced with developmental disabilities or intellectual developmental disabilities?
Someone on our team that specializes in that?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say specializes in that specifically, but I think a lot of our our mental health responders have like really varied experiences. So some might be more skilled with one population than the other. So it kind of varies, but not specifically. Yeah.
And I guess we're going to put a safe rest village on Grant Freeway, and they're taking referrals to Portland Street Response. So I don't know who at Portland Street Response is doing Lentz referrals. If we know somebody who really, really wants to get into a safe rest village, but it might not fall under the radar of PSR, can we have them contact you, like through email or something, and say, hey, I would really like to get into one, ready to get clean, but I've never had cross paths with you yet.
Yeah.
Can they go and contact PSR directly?
Unfortunately, no, we don't take referrals or requests for service by email or phone or anything like that. It does have to be routed through the 911 system. So yeah, there are definitely other outreach organizations and like housing services, homeless services that people could be routed that way, but currently we're not able to take those kind of requests.
So telling us these 3 referrals, and Mary will hear me on this, were from Portland Street Response, Portland Police, and then the Navigation Center. So it's the only referrals are taken. So I was wondering.
Oh, just through like the.
Yeah,
like,
so that's what
first
I was
responders.
wondering, and I won't take up too much time of that, was I was wondering if we know people who are, because we know our houses, we know they want to be clean and they want to get in. But I guess it's not.
Yeah, unfortunately, we
Yeah,
can't
thanks.
take them that way.
I wonder if you might talk a little bit about like your satellite offices that you are working on.
The what?
The satellite offices?
Oh, sure. So currently we are housed primarily out of a location on just west of the Ross Island Bridge, kind of in south Portland. But we are looking to have, I believe there's going to be an office close to 122nd and Powell that our responders can also kind of utilize during their shift, so they don't have to drive all the way back to the primary office. And then another one will be down in Old Town. And likely we'll have other satellites down the road once we continue to grow. But those are kind of the primary ones. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What sections of town do you get the most calls regarding?
I would have to, we do have on our website, have a data dashboard, and it kind of, you can show like, you can see where the kind of hotspots are of where calls are primarily coming from. Just anecdotally, I would say like we do get a lot of calls in like the downtown core, Old Town, out here in Lentz, and then in North Portland, but really everywhere. Yeah, but you can check our website for exact numbers and that kind of thing.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Well, I just want to thank you for joining us this evening. I will be completely transparent with you. I did not have this on the agenda.
Oh, no.
But when you showed up, I didn't want to turn you down because I was like, this is great. We've never had somebody from Portland Street Response before. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us. And then did we get your name for the record?
Britt Urban.
Britt Urban.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, and I appreciate it. Awesome. Thank you so much, and we will definitely be in touch as we continue to work with do events. Hopefully, we can have some Portland Street Response collaboration as well.
Thank you.
You as well. Okay, so wonderful, awesome, great. We can get back to the regularly scheduled programming, which will get into our community happenings. So I will just put myself last on the list now because I have like a freaking ton of updating. So Vice Chair, is she on Zoom? No. Okay. And Secretary don't have. Okay, so we will go to our Treasurer, Land Use, and then our Transportation and Public Safety in that order, if that's okay. Awesome, let's do it.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Ken Lucchini, and I'm the LNA Board Treasurer. If you wish, you can contact me at lnatreasurerken@outlook.com. I've got 3 items for this evening. One is the LNA bank account balance and activity for the month of August. Recommendation for the East Portland Community Office Community Activities Fund sponsorship, and a motion for LNA to approve the treasurer's recommendations for that sponsorship. So item number 1, the Unitas bank account balance as of Monday, August 29th, 2022 is $966.84. The following transactions occurred during the month of August 2022. $50 expenditure as reimbursement to former secretary for Secretary of State filing. $29.95 expenditure as a bank charge for LNA checks, and $30.33 expenditures via auto pay for the PG&E bill and lighting of the Lentz monuments. And that's it for the report on the LNA bank account. Item number 2, as LNA treasurer, I'm recommending that LNA apply for the East Portland Community Office EFCO Community Activities Fund, which is CAF sponsorship. The sponsorship has replaced the Neighborhood Association allotments. It's a first come, first serve opportunity. Maximum sponsorship award is $1,000. And that we have to note that the EFCO CAF sponsorship is a sponsorship, not a grant. So expenses only get reimbursed with a receipt. Receipts can be retroactive from June 1st, 2022. Deadline to submit all the receipts is May 31st, 2023. The form's going to be available when the application cycle opens up on Thursday, September 1st. So we'll jump on that right away if you guys approve that we want to go ahead and do that. As treasurer, I'm recommending that the LNA apply for $1,000 to help defray our operating costs from June 1st, 2022 to May 31st, 2022. 2023, pardon me, made a typo. This will cover the following: $50 to pay for the Secretary of State filing, which was filed and paid on June 16, 2022. $20 to pay for the renewal of our licensing with the Oregon Department of Justice CT12 filing, which has a deadline of May 15th, 2023. $150 to pay for the domain name renewal with DreamHost, which usually comes due in March. $150 to pay for the renewal of the Zoom contract, which expires on December 4th, 2022. $50 to pay for an early renewal of the Secretary of State filing, which has a deadline of August 15th, 2023. And then $100 for LNA to join the Lentz Grown Business Association, which will allow LNA to access some of the Venture Portland grant opportunities and increase our collaboration opportunities, improve our relationship with businesses in Lentz. And I've got some websites there that you guys will get when I give this to Jasmine to post. This is a total of $520. I'm recommending that the $480 sponsorship request be allocated to reducing barriers to participation for LNA members. This includes, but it's not limited to, speaker, mic, monitor, interface cables for Zoom meetings, childcare at meetings when required, translation, interpretation at meetings when required, refreshments for meetings, etc. What I'd like to do is make a motion that those recommendations for the $1,000 EFCO CAF sponsorship be approved.
Beautiful. Yes, all the grants, all of it.
So
Yes.
okay.
Let's do it for sure.
And
You've got my vote.
then we have to do a vote. So Jessica seconded and then vote. So those in favor, raise their hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those opposed? Those abstaining? 1 abstaining, 8, 4. Thank you. And then I would like to make a, you guys said it's okay. Now I'd like to make a motion that the LNA treasurer be authorized on behalf of LNA to submit the EFCO CAF application for $1,000 sponsorship on September 1st, 2022, when the application opens. So would anybody want to second that?
I would like to amend the motion to like you, having permission to apply for any and every grant. You're the treasurer, so if there's a grant available, absolutely apply for it, because if we don't see each other for the next 2 to 3 weeks, there's gonna be grant opportunities such as Multnomah County Cultural Coalition, Portland Parks Foundation, there's a bunch of other grant opportunities that if we wait until every time we see each other, we're gonna miss opportunities for the Lentz community to have funds available to do cleanup projects, to do cultural projects, to do events, all of those things. So I'd like to amend that motion to let's apply for grants as they become available.
Okay, and so, and apply for other grants when they become available.
Absolutely.
Okay. Mrs. Weigel needs a secretary.
It's all good. We're working with what we've
And the
got.
spelling's
We're making it
horrible.
happen with what we've got.
So we're gonna.
Doing the
vote.
best we can, man.
You
So-
need a second on the amendment?
I think Jessica, yeah, we need a second on the amendment.
Second.
Okay, great. And then the vote. Those in favor, raise your hand.
Clarity, I have a question.
Sorry.
Yeah, my question is, does that mean that the treasurer writes the grant, with no approval from the board, or anything, just because when you apply for grant, with the exception of that CAF grant, or, let's say some of these other lower level grants, they actually have detailed, essay questions that you have to answer as to what exactly are you doing, and what exactly you're planning to do by what time, so you're just giving the treasurer,
Absolutely. I have faith that you would do the right thing and
What-
say the right thing.
You know, in cases like this where a grant comes up and it requires a lot of community support, I won't apply for the grant until I get an okay from the board and the general membership, because some of these grants require a lot of community work together. So if it's something that doesn't look like that, I would be more than glad to apply, but I will let everybody know, as I always have on the board via email, and then you guys can post on the website if you want. But when it comes to making a large grant or something that's going to require community involvement, committees, and volunteers for work, I would have to bring that up to the board, and then to have the board approve it to go to a general meeting, or just bring it up at a general meeting. Because I can't in good faith commit the LNA to doing something that we don't have the person hours to support. And
Well, if
you
we
know,
didn't have the sorry, I wasn't trying to interrupt you. Go
So
ahead.
I just want to make it so LNA has a good reputation.
Right.
So I'll keep that in mind when applying for these things. It's something that's fairly quick and easy and doesn't require like this CAF sponsorship. But I still want to go ahead and get everybody's approval to know what we're doing and why we're doing it.
I think we all, well, we can get back to the voting. We all agreed that you have full discretion to apply for grants. Did anybody object?
You did call a vote.
Oh, we did. But then you had a question,
Yeah, I had a question.
but we all were raising our hand.
So we need to carry the vote down then.
Okay, so let's
Well,
raise the
would you-
question
would you
again.
read the- Would you read the motion?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion that Ken Lukine as LNA treasurer be authorized on behalf of LNA to submit the EPCO CAF application for $1,000 sponsorship on September 1st, 2022, when the application opens, and apply for other grants when available.
Second,
That should-
yeah.
That should be two motions, I think, point of clarity. Would you agree that that should be two motions? First would be deal with the cap, and then the second would be a motion that because they're two different things. One is just approving cap, and the other is giving you unilateral power to do, to apply for any grants that you see willy-nilly.
So
So it should
can
be two
I,
motions.
is it okay if I go ahead with the original motion? Then can I run by and do the original motion again?
Yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion that Ken Lucchini as LNA treasurer be authorized on behalf of LNA to submit the EPCO CAF application for $1,000 sponsorship on September 1st, 2022, when the application opens, period.
I second that motion.
Okay, Mary, you seconded it, thank you. And is there any further discussion? So those in favor, raise their hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is there anybody in opposition? Anybody abstaining? And 1 abstention. Thank you. So, did somebody else want to do the second motion, or?
No, you're getting pretty good at it. Go ahead.
I know it's scribbled all over the place.
No question.
Can I just do something? Obviously, I know the new members don't know me, but I've known Lance for a long time. Obviously, there's a financial issue. I get what you're saying. I think it makes perfect sense. We're voted as treasurer, you're trusted to act within the treasurer, which includes going after grants. You guys need every freaking grant, a little freaking dime you can get. If you're gonna sit here and wait for every next meeting or whatnot, you're gonna miss out opportunities. So I get what she's saying. So I actually like her motion, and I was hoping that we could move forward for that because you guys need the money. You guys don't have the money now. You guys need the money now. We need life back into it. You were voted for treasurer for a reason because people trusted you.
100% agree.
So I don't understand.
It gets into this bureaucratic thing where it's like motion, second,
Yeah,
vote.
because
We need to
you
vote on
guys are
every
gonna
little
sell
thing.
grants.
We need BS, like this bureaucratic,
just
like,
wanna
let's
be
just get
really
into getting it
I
done.
understand that, Mary, but this has been
Yeah.
a problem all along with Lentz. I've been involved with LNA since I've been here 13 years. It has been a shit show, excuse my language. But people want to waste time redoing every little thing. Going for grants should not be something that's negative. I understand what you're saying about people, so obviously you would bring it to the people if it was something that was going to affect the large people. But there are so many grants out there that people are missing because you guys want to nickel and dime every little thing.
I
So I'm
agree.
asking if we can move forward on.
With the
those.
motion, can you
Okay.
propose the motion, please?
So, okay, let me back this one. I'd like to make the motion that Ken Lucchini as LNA treasurer be authorized on behalf of LNA to apply for other grants when available.
And just to clarify, I didn't know you weren't already authorized. I didn't know any of us weren't as board members. Just to clarify, we're on the board to like be actionable. And so I didn't know we have to like have an actual meeting, have a vote, do all this and that, all these formalities to just get things done. But anyways, just to like in the spirit of moving forward, because we have like 45 minutes and we are still in the first person's talking. So let's just, yeah, I second the motion.
Okay. And the reason there's a bureaucratic process is it's because it's a democracy, and then also it's really easy. Someone could be really fraudulent with this if they wanted and apply.
Well, the money goes
and
through
then
EPCO.
have it go and then have the account go to some place in Timbuktu.
Okay, but that's the past, you know, if there was a motion, can we vote, please?
Oh, yeah, so, okay, so I'd like to make, I already did.
Motion, she seconded.
I seconded.
Seconded, so, is there any further discussion?
Yeah, so, grants are typically relative to a specific thing. And your previous comments about having volunteer capacity to deliver on a grant, let's say trash cleanup. Takes a lot of work, takes a lot of people. So if you arbitrarily apply to a bunch of those things without partnership, without a group, then it kind of sets itself up to fail.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. The thing about that is,
So,
and
yeah.
I think Ken does a really great job of itemizing things, and that money can sit there for 5 years.
Absolutely.
Right, so if I could finish what I was saying. All right. So typically, grant cycles are set in like a set on a 12-month timeline, you have to give money back. If you don't have a core team, which is kind of what I was getting to, if you don't have capacity to deliver, you end up just effectively shifting money. And what happens is the effect of that is these people you've asked for money from then don't want to give it to you later. So there is a cause and effect to giving money and not being able to deliver. And I think that's the cautionary tale, right? So just offering that.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I agree with what you said too. If you don't use it, you lose it. So
You lose
let's
it.
get back to, well,
Yeah.
okay, so can we get back to the vote so we can get through the agenda? Because we'll be sitting here all night chit chatting, so.
It was seconded by Jessica, and so now we're going for the vote in favor of the treasurer being authorized on behalf of LNA to submit, or excuse me, to apply for other grants when they become available. 6. Any opposition? 2. Anybody abstain? And 1.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
And do we have any other treasurer updates before we move this party along?
We need one more dissenting opinion, because I wanted to add to what Robert had to say as part of the dissenting opinion, is that most grants, and I think a lot of people here may not be familiar with grants, don't cover operating expenses. So like, to back up Robert, you're going to have to produce something. So it's not gonna be one of these things if you get $5,000 and, oh, we only have 2 people show up, so we'll take $150 and feed them, and then when you put the other $350 in our operating, that's not how it works, it's not ethical. So, just to be careful, so if you're applying for a cleanup grant and you're saying $500 is going to have food and only 10 people show up, well, you better be spending $50 per person for food. It's not a question of putting the rest aside to reimburse somebody else for something else they donated. So that's just the caveat, because that's grant fraud, and it's also waste. Because like Robert sort of implied, you got a grant at the expense of somebody who did not get the grant. So that's just, so fast things, yeah, clean up or whatever, but you really do need to go and check with others. Yeah.
Is
So
there anyone
like,
else?
We've got a grant fraud, we've got a fraud department in the auditor's office, and people are very quick to report.
Okay. Anybody else? Awesome. So we will move right along. Can
Thank
we
you.
get our transportation update?
Hi, everyone. I'm Bradley. I'm the transportation chair. So currently, there's only a handful of things that's really happening with 82nd. There's a survey online. If you haven't filled it out, please fill it out, right? I don't know how effective the surveys are, but it's there. It takes like 5 minutes. Might as well fill it out.
What survey?
So PBOT is developing a plan for 82nd Avenue. Now that it has ownership soon-ish. I don't know when they actually take ownership, but they're developing a plan of the improvements they want to do to 82nd. And so the survey is just trying to kind of gauge what are people's priorities for the street. Like, what's the most important thing to see happening on the street? It's a short survey. It's on the website. I highly recommend filling it out.
Sorry, Bradley, can I ask you a super quick question? Are you referring to the Building a Better 82nd initiative?
Yes,
Okay, just to clarify. Yeah.
I will do better. in
No,
future if,
it's all good. I wasn't trying to correct you, man.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah, just so we know we're all on the same page about what we're talking about. It's the money that, they just got, the 185 million.
Did that Bebop got?
It's right on PBOT's website.
Okay, I just wanted, you said the $180 million that they got.
185 million. Bradley, do you want to say it?
So the state transferred 180 million to PBOT for 82nd improvements. Oh, don't get me started on the state. So if anyone is interested in a volunteer position at PBOT, a lightweight one, there is the Bureau and Budget Advisory Committee. They're accepting applications. It's a monthly meeting. The commitment is for 2 years. And that steers like what it gives feedback to Peabot on what they should be prioritizing. If you're interested in it, it's a commitment, maybe not the biggest, but it is a commitment. And I did email Peabot to try and get any update on the intersection at 100th and Holgate as of the fatality that happened last month. I have not had anyone contact me back yet, but I will update y'all if I hear something back. And not transportation related, but am I able to transfer the donations from the pop event over to the treasurer? Or should that be at the board meeting?
Let's make a motion to put them in the account for sure. I was gonna give some updates on the pop event too, so can we circle back to this?
We can circle back to it.
Okay, but thank you for mentioning that. And then just to piggyback off of what you were saying, I don't know if you saw the email, but they did extend the volunteer application for Building a Better 82nd Advisory Group to September 7th. So if you are interested in the opportunity Bradley was just referring to, it is extended until September 7th. I had to take a couple notes on it. But yeah, it was just saying, yeah, like to reiterate, ODOT transferred ownership of 82nd, and they are looking to invest in some near-term critical fixes. So if there are people that are near 82nd or on 82nd in the Lintz neighborhood, please speak up and let them know, let PBOT know, so we can get some of those funds directed to those areas as well. Anybody have any questions on any of that? Good stuff. Awesome. We will move to our land use chair.
Okay. Mary Oxford, land use. I picked up the mail from the EPCO office, and there is extensive papers and pictures on the Johnson Creek Basin. I just saw it there. The Prologis, 6400 Southeast 101st. They want to do a lot of redevelopment of the 99-acre freeway lands industrial site located the intersection of Foster and 101st. And if you want to look at all of this that they have proposed with the flood zone, and all those papers are here.
Will those be made available on the LNA site?
If someone who has the knowledge to
I could scan them for you.
scan these and post them on the,
I think that one might be very interesting to some people.
I could scan it and send a PDF to you. Jasmine, would that be okay?
And also, if it's public information, you can probably just copy it off of the City of Portland website and post it on our Facebook. We're working on getting our Facebook open for public comment. I don't know what's going on, but we're working on it. And so anybody should be able to post there soon. So if you want to just like go from the City of Portland, they might have a PDF version on portland.gov land use. Alrighty.
When you skimmed it, do you know if they're just doing flood mitigation or if they're doing anything?
would you like to read these?
They're building.
It's a lot. It's a lot, Robert. It's a big site and it's a lot with the floodplain and,
Multiple buildings.
you know, every time they pound a stake in, they have to tell you.
How much water it's gonna displace.
Well, are there any like key takeaways that you could share with us about what's going on?
I really don't know. It's a big site over here at 100 and Foster, but it's back behind the West Rock recycling place.
Okay.
So it's not really visible to a lot of people. And for lodges, I don't know what if they're getting the site ready to build on. I don't really know what their plan is with all of this flood mitigation and all that.
If I remember right, they have proposed to build multiple buildings. They mailed something else out a while back. And if I remember right, they have proposed to build multiple buildings there. Large buildings, commercial buildings with lots of parking lots.
Yeah, but handling big trucks going in and
Yes.
out. My whole thing about the thing is how is it going to affect street usage going in and out? Because those trucks have to be able to get on the Highway 205. And how do you get from that location to Highway 205?
You go 101st, that light there, and then out the freeway, which is already a mess.
There's a lot of trucks going in and out of there already
Yep.
because it's a recycling thing. So
So they just go out, just
it's
catch the.
gonna be bigger.
That, and drive on the road they haven't fixed yet.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. This is another one. These are all public papers.
That one's the one that's right here, isn't it?
This person wants to set their manufactured house, I think, on this lot, cattywampus. And it's in the Johnson Creek Basin. Vacant lot at Southeast Woodstock Court, southwest corner of 9746 Southeast Woodstock.
Halfway.
Yes, you may. She wants to put her house cattywampus on the lot because it won't fit if you just set it on there square. So if she gives it a little turn, then it'll fit on there really tightly.
I just can't imagine. But, okay.
So these are all public notices. This is another one from Palindrome about the 159 unit, 5-story multifamily development there at the 92nd
That's the one.
by
that's
the
right.
Boys and Girls Club.
92H.
So
Can you elaborate? Oh, sorry, go
Is that
ahead.
the same as Zoico House, Paladron, is that the same as Zoico House, the other
it's
was?
two different ones. The one going in on the empty lot is a different one than the one going back in behind.
But same concept.
Same company.
That's what I'm asking. it's the
Yeah,
same
yes,
company.
same company.
The one that's been trying to gentrify land for years now.
Yes, that's them.
Would you like to look at these?
There's nothing we can do to stop it. So
No, probably not.
they've already done it, they've already caused horrible problems here, heat index, everything, but yeah.
That's right. I just saw that on, what was it, OTV? That was interesting.
Robert?
So I understood that the reason land use gets these is that for free, the neighborhood association can't take a position against any of the developments that are submitted.
True.
So if someone was compelled to offer motion, direct the board to take an action, et cetera, this is something that is done free through this process of the neighborhood association, and not free as an independent.
Yes, a couple of them, and that's true. A couple of them are fairly far into the process, and that's just not a thing. Like the one that's being built back off the freeway is a done deal, and the one over here is a done deal. A couple of these looked new to me. Does anyone have anything against the person putting their house sideways on their lot? Yeah, so, but yes, so if you came across one that said we want, then we could definitely say, no, we do not want anymore.
And I would, oh, sorry, go ahead, Jason.
Well, if yours question was directed to
I was just gonna say, I would recommend that we abstain from anything to do with residential or anything like that, and maybe elaborate further on what some of these developments that are happening are, because I heard you read the letters, but I still don't understand all the nuances of these projects. So maybe if we could like take a deeper dive into what's going on with these projects versus like the residential stuff, that would be super helpful. I understand also like sharing them on the website, but just to like in layman's terms, explain to people what these projects entail. And maybe have like a little more of a thorough report on what's happening with the land use, then that would be maybe helpful. That's just my personal proposal, but, go ahead, Jason.
Well, it's pertaining to land use, so I was just curious if there's a way we can find out or get a report or an update regarding all the vacancies in the commons. Get a little
Vacancies in the,
the first floor is all the business level.
Oh.
On the corner, northwest corner. And the second foster, there's Lens Commons and all those businesses are vacant, with the exception of, I think, the Yoga Studio, which is taking, stay in business.
And if I may, has there ever been a business in those commercial spaces?
It's been 3 years.
The rent's too damn high.
They could lower it.
So if I may offer that, some of these are Prosper Portland run, some of these are palindrome run. So that's part of what you're seeing, because Prosper Portland does not do well at developing spaces, which is largely the one that we're in. So you have different competing groups. And this is a long-standing debate about 92H, and their resolution when this came up before, when people got pissed about it, was to say, all right, we'll slice off a chunk for low-income housing, we'll do market rate for the rest. Theirs was a partnership with Prosper Portland to gain use of the property dependent on their development of the soil house and all that other stuff. So it is very nebulous and convoluted. There's still a little room to raise some cane if you have an objective, like if you wanted to see some different thing incorporated, there is room for this process to advocate for something. Are you going to stop it? I agree. You have to stop a lot of big money guys. If that helps.
To piggyback off what you were saying, Bradley, too, about those businesses, I actually had toured all of them. I was considering putting one of my businesses in there, and I think maybe just as being the Lentz Neighborhood Association, we might want to also mention, yes, they are owned by Prosper Portland, but they are giving a $75,000 business development grant. So if you know any businesses that might be interested, let's try to bring them in and recruit them maybe. And so we don't just have vacant buildings. Yeah, I know the rent's astronomical. But there's not a lot of commercial spaces that are giving out $75,000 business grants also. So, and it's a
But that
forgivable.
grant wouldn't even cover the cost too. that you
Build it out. I ran it by the architects.
Everybody has. Everybody has.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know about this, but okay.
So are you saying that Prosper Portland's offering $75,000?
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of people in the community don't know about that. So maybe they need to do a little bit more promotion and let people know and go to the small businesses that are already existing and give them the opportunity to move in there and maybe expand their business or open another location or whatever have you. But here nor there, we shall move along. Oh, sorry, was there any more land
what
use
was your
updates?
question about you want to know how many are empty, or do you want to know
Well,
why they're
maybe we
empty?
could get on an update from Prosper Portland. Maybe we could have them here. So maybe, I just would like to know what's going on with those and why we're even continuing to develop if we can't even build the business spaces for our open right now.
You want to know why they're empty?
Yeah, why they're empty, what they're doing about it.
Okay. Okay, so then next is the PGE thing. I would like to readdress that. The new bill for 2983 is here. And I again would like to make a motion that we stop service to that. And actually, someone told me that the neighborhood association shouldn't be in charge of it, that, now I can't remember, some other entity. Anyway, I would like to make a motion that we stop
Second.
I just
paying
want-
this
oh,
PGE
sorry.
bill.
I just want to say, we already voted on this at the last meeting, and so I don't know if something's changed since then, but you did vote at the last meeting that we were gonna shelf that until October so that we could look for
October.
sponsorships from the community. We had this whole long 40-minute discussion about it, so I don't know if we want to elaborate on that discussion or if we want to just stick to what we already agreed to, but I don't know how much time we want to spend on this.
Okay.
And then-
I was ready to second that motion.
It was seconded, so we have to take a vote.
Okay.
My discussion for that is that we did have that vote that said we would look for sponsorship until October. And I did send out a sponsorship tiered letter that was shut down because it came across as being, what was the word you used?
We do this every meeting. It's
I know.
exhausting.
Those are-
Sorry.
but
It's just like
asking
every
for
meeting, 40
donations
minutes.
and then, and giving something in return by saying that we would post their business or their group or their organization on our Facebook and our website as sponsorship for paying our PG bill for the month. So I did do what we said what we voted on last month so that we could get it done before October. But then it died there. Yes.
So the monuments have been in place of contention for 8 years now.
Yeah, this is,
The underlying result
redundant.
is nobody cares. This happens each time. To clean the monument is a task, to fight with the monument is a task. So if y'all came up with something else, I didn't see it when I was on the website. But if there's a different motion, otherwise, stop paying for it, because what's the downside? Lights go out. Then if maybe somebody cares, they contact the neighborhood association.
Are there lights on it anyway? Because.
Yeah.
There's a couple.
On this one side by,
East side,
Yeah,
on the
east side
east
there
side.
is, west side.
I think they have road.
Who
Yeah.
changes the light bulbs? Is that P-Bond?
yes.
So they should be paying the light bill.
Okay, can
They
we
use-
do what we need to do so we can move on? Because I just realized that we do not have a ton of time.
Okay.
So we need to,
Just very quickly, the reason that the neighborhood shouldn't be responsible for it is I see the West Monument as a menace to navigation, being able to see oncoming traffic when you have to make that right-hand turn. If something happens and they say we're liable. So I just want to get rid of it because of the liability of that monument. Especially the West Monument. The East Monument's not that bad. The West Monument is crazy.
Is it really that bright?
And no, it's not that bright. It's this.
yeah, let's just get to the vote because we've got bigger fish to fry.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, we do this every time and we spend like 40 minutes like just
I second it.
chit chatting.
It was seconded.
Okay, speaking of-
The question is who votes yes, stop paying it right now?
We need all the beautification and lints we can get, and I feel like there's been conscious effort from the
1, 2, 3, 4,
community to
5.
clean up that lints and get it looking nice, so. My only question is if we do agree to stop paying the bill and cut it off, is there a reason why we can't use one of the grants that are available to fund that?
Yeah, we're voting.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah.
So
Well,
that's 6 yeses. Any
Okay.
no's? I vote no.
I
I said,
vote no.
and any abstentions? No, okay.
And how many voted yes?
6 yes, 3 no's, and 2 abstentions, or 0 abstentions. Sorry, I'm writing numbers and I can't talk numbers and write numbers at the same time.
So the motion carries.
Motion carries. So it will be shut off. And if somebody calls and complains, then we can tell them they can pay for it. I never want to talk about these stupid monuments ever again. Okay. Even breaking them down. Take your sledgehammer out there.
Okay, I'm done. And next, that leaves you.
Is that me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry.
Good. No, that's fine. Mine's short, sweet, and easy. Reedway had a meeting. They still don't know when officially they're gonna open up. They're hopeful for fall. It's not gonna happen. They would like more speaking opportunities. So if you are part of a group or an organization or like your business like you work for a company in Lentz, maybe you could invite them to come and talk and engage with that group. I don't know. And they will post the report they get back about the soil on their website instead of waiting for the next meeting. If you're interested in following all of the Reedway updates, that's the Reedway Safe Rest Village. Oh, yes. So it's
Safe
the
Rest
Reedway
Village.
Safe Rest Village. They are looking for more ways to talk because they have not been out in the community very much. Yes.
You don't know it's fine. You know if they did the environmental impact survey relative to the water table and the wells that are on there?
Water table and wells, they don't haven't talked about that one much, but the soil is the big one. And whatever they're getting back from that group is going to be posted on the website this.
I don't believe so, Robert.
Yeah.
Only soil. is the
Soil,
only thing that
soil,
people
soil.
have been screaming about.
And then I typed this up. So at our last meeting, we talked about creating a letter to send to ask for crosswalks and specifically at 100th and Holgate. So I typed this up really fast and there might just barely not be enough. You can have my copy if it doesn't make it to you. So if we are happy with this letter, I would love for us to just sign it tonight and send it off that says, thank you so much. We really want more crosswalks here in Lentz. At the POP event, it was talked about the crosswalks. We need crosswalks in our neighborhoods. We need crosswalks on Foster. We need crosswalks on 82nd. Like we just need crosswalks. And so I just made a point to add that 100th and Holgate tragedy and ask them for attention in Lentz for crosswalks. So here's that letter.
Beautiful.
I
Sounds
would
good.
like a motion. Can I make my own motion?
Do it.
All right.
Yes, please.
I would like to motion that we sign this letter and send it to city council before the next city council meeting.
Do you want us all to sign one or?
Yes, I'll sign it.
Beautiful. I second that motion. Shall we vote?
Yeses? Nos?
Did everybody really read this like he said?
No, I did not. I'm
No,
sorry.
and if
It
you
was-
want one
I
more time,
just-
that's okay.
I just liked what you were summarizing. I didn't actually. It could say Hail Satan. I would not know. I do
It
not
does
know.
in the third
It does
paragraph.
not say that.
I honestly, I'm just going, I'm trusting that you're a woman of your word and this says what you said it said.
I read it, didn't say that.
I read a different paper.
I gave you my
I
copy.
guess I see it now, all right.
Thank you so much. So I believe we have enough votes to do it, yeah?
Well, I was going to give Jason
One
a
name
moment
and
to
one-
We're gonna give it a second.
finish
Oh,
reading
okay,
and
sorry.
then he can place his vote.
I'd like to just say that generally, I think if we're gonna have something like this, it'd be good to pass it out, like, or send it out maybe in an email form ahead of the meeting, so people can, obviously get a chance to read it, but also make suggestions,
Yeah.
Love that
Do you,
idea.
for sure, do you want to add?
No, I mean, I'm okay with it, this time, but just,
Something real quick. So you're gonna send this to city council that literally sees like thousands every day. So the goal then is distinguishing yourself. And so I would have thought you would have included or spent special effort on Hardesty, right? Because Hardesty is the one, did you try to find
Hardesty?
your
Out here.
LNA and the whole thing? I don't know. but perhaps.
No, so this, it was talked about when it first happened, when the accident first happened. We talked about it sort of really quickly and then it kind of went away. At our last meeting, we talked about it a little bit more and said we should do this letter. And so I just wrote a letter.
I mean, the content's great, I just, the only question, the reason I was against it is that there's some, so this is like, we 6 people are telling you people this should happen.
For sure.
Just the way it's proposed, right? And it's absent some of the key figures as like how we would normally address them, right? So mine would be more inclusive, more directed, right? Does that make sense, right?
For sure.
I think also to be solution oriented, we can make a copy of it, send it to each one of their offices and then follow up via email and see if we can get somebody either on the phone or in an email to acknowledge receipt of that.
Or
So, yeah, boom. So there's solutions to be had versus whatever else, so.
For sure.
Sounds good. Is there anything else that we need to chit chat about? Alrighty, we'll move this party forward. Okay, so I'll go into my updates, and then I would like to give Jason the floor. I know people said they don't want to talk about the Lynx monuments. I do. Thank you so much. No, it looks amazing. I really do appreciate you, and I, in like spirit of camaraderie, am really hoping that we can pull together and do more things like that, because this neighborhood has been trashed for far too long, and whatever we can do to like make it a little more pretty around this place, I'm all for. So I just want to let you have the floor for at least 5 minutes to talk about that effort, and then have a discussion about a cleanup committee. So then, and then we'll go into all of the other agenda items that we need to discuss, things for the next meeting, and then we will be adjourned. Do you have something to say?
No, I was.
Oh.
Oh, no, she's gonna go.
Okay, so I will just briefly update. I'm gonna actually hold off on like half of my updates until the board meeting, because I want us to be able to like let Jason have the floor for a little while. Okay, so as we already stated, LNA is currently seeking a secretary. If you know someone who might be interested in filling this board spot, please have them reach out as soon as possible. We would like to recruit as many potential candidates as we can. In addition, our LNA Pop event, our Party on Portland event, in conjunction with the City of Portland, Civic Life, Portland Parks and Recreation, Urban Forestry, and PBOT, was a success. Woo! Special thanks to our vendors, and extra special thanks to our former secretary, chair, vice chair, safety chair, and transportation chair, who donated their time, resources, and cumulatively over $500 of their own money to our first LNA event. So, I'm like incredibly proud of everybody that like really blew me away. I have so many smiles on faces, and so many people like came out in the middle of a heat wave. It was like 100 degrees that day, and for us to do a lot with literally nothing, I think is a testament to the will of the people in Lynx, because we literally have diddly squat, and we made something out of nothing. And so I'm incredibly proud of us all for building community. And for me personally, I will say that was like one of the first initiatives that we became a board again and got the LNA meetings back going, is like, okay, let's do some community building. And now I'm just like, let's get to tangible differences, like cleaning up. But okay, so we will move on down the list to some updates. If you are in need of heat relief, please call 211. The PCF Heat Response Program launched in June with funding from Portland Clean Energy Committee, and on Friday, July 29th, the program marked the installation of over 1,000 efficient cooling units, primarily for low-income Portlanders, as well as elderly and those living with medical conditions or living alone. The goal is to get 3,000 units out this year. So if you are an eligible Portlander, please reach out to 211 to get a portable or window cooling unit through this program. Recipients must reside in Portland and have an income that is 60% less of the median area income. It is still super freaking hot every day. So if you do not have an AC and you would like one, once again, they've only given out about 1,000, and their goal is to give out 3,000. So you do not have to suffer. If you would like to reach out to 211, they can hook you up. Also, we had received an email from Volunteers of America, so I just wanted to throw their announcement out. They asked that we let people know that the Volunteers of America Oregon Community Changemakers, a virtual celebration is happening September 15th from 7 to 7:30 p.m. Join Volunteers of America for their free virtual celebration on September 15th, either live or on KGW Channel 8. This event highlights their forward movement and continued steadfast commitment to the residents of Oregon. And this is something that you guys could totally check out if you're interested. Also, just to get back to the grant conversation, I did go ahead and apply on behalf of Lintz for the Sparrowhawk Native Plants Grant as of August 15th. It's for a community-based pop-up event, and we will hear back on that. The Metro Regional Refresh Grant was applied to as of August 16th, and that one is been granted. So the LNA has officially a budget of $4,324.53 to start a cleanup committee. So if you are interested in cleaning up the Lentz neighborhood, we can do the monuments, we can do whatever area you'd like. I know in the past, Lentz had dumpsters placed strategically throughout the neighborhood, volunteers to watch those dumpsters. We can also do something like pods, if that might be a little more ideal, to have it like where it's secured at nighttime and then just opened up during certain hours. I would like to recruit some volunteers, obviously from the board and especially from the community, so we can start beautification. Also, I'm like interested in hearing some solution-based conversation on some sweeps. You guys might have heard what happened in the Pearl District where they had, you know, Portland police come sweep the area, and then they did a cleanup, and then they were able to keep that area clean by a couple different means. And so I'd like to start the conversation about that. I also have been talking to over 100 different organizations, neighborhood associations all throughout Portland, as well as like smaller community organizations about forming a coalition to address homelessness and cleanups. So it's really big on my priority list. I think we should like get things done. We spend a lot of time chit-chatting at these things, and I'd like to do some tangible work and some boots on the ground stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much that. And then the Lentz Monument cleanup could be sponsored by community activity funds if we would like it to be. That's another separate grant. That one opens on September 1st. EPAP grants can potentially cover the food at the meetings like Ken was saying, and community events. I'd also, we talked about this at previous meetings, but our attendance was super freaking low. So I just want to reiterate, doing a quarterly Lentz community event where maybe it's a harvest party where we include kids and families. Maybe it's, obviously we don't want to go with like holiday things because I know everybody doesn't celebrate holidays, but just like community mixers where we can do every quarter like a community thing, like what we just did with the pop event. All of our vendors sold out. All of the, I don't even know how many trees we gave out that day with urban forestry, but it was very fruitful and it was a very successful event. And we did that on a shoestring budget with like 1 month of planning. So I know if we were to put the effort into doing that, I also was an event coordinator in a former life. So I feel like we could get a quarterly event going. So ideally 1 for fall, 1 for winter. And if people would like to get in on that action as well, definitely we're going to circle back on that in future meetings. But for now, I just want to reiterate the importance of starting the cleanup committee as soon as possible because we can't do something with nothing. And we finally got the opportunity to have a budget to do something. And I would like to see us come together and be solution oriented on cleaning up the neighborhood, and especially in the fall, because the weather has not been permitting, and I'm sorry I didn't come, Jason, but I was like, dude, 98 degrees, like, oh God. So I think in the fall, it'll be a little, like, the weather will be more permitting, and it's not gonna be, too cold or too hot, so hopefully that'll be a good time to, like, get things done, so. Those are some of my updates. I will save some of the updates for the next meeting as well, so we can have time to let Jason share for a little bit and then also get into the rest of the agenda items for this evening. And yeah.
I did have one question.
Mm-hmm.
You said EPAP grants or EPAP funds, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, they have grants that are available.
Oh, so you haven't actually applied for them?
No,
Oh, okay.
but we need to, absolutely need to. Yeah, there's the Metro Community Arts and Culture Grant that is open. So a lot of these grants have actually been open for quite a while. Metro Community Arts and Culture Grant opened up August 5th and it's going to October 7th. That's between $5,000 and $25,000 that we could have towards the LNA to do those events quarterly and have some kind of community building events. Like I said, $5,000 to $25,000 is a huge budget to feed our community, even if it's just a community dinner where we could have people come in and maybe we just pay Zinger Pizza to feed everybody and do it there, or whatever. What is Humdinger Pizza, whatever it is. Whoever, it doesn't have to be them, but just like an idea. I'm
It's
just.
not very culturally relevant, though. I mean, wouldn't that have to be something culturally relevant to us? I mean, we have a
Well, we could-
community that's not been outreached at all.
Yeah, so we could basically add a cultural aspect to it where we could do some, I'm willing to listen to some ideas if you have some. So that's one that we could do, or we could make it an art night or something, whatever, however. Just throwing some ideas out there, some community building stuff, because I feel like Lynn's has a reputation of not being community oriented and the camaraderie spirit has not been there. So maybe it would be nice to like get together and spread some love and like each other for a night or two. And so anyways, there's also the Multnomah County Cultural Coalition grant. That one's been open and that one goes until October 13th. That's $1,000 to $2,500. And then the Portland Parks Foundation, September 1st to October 15th, they have $2,000. And most of these grants prioritize low-income communities of color and marginalized groups. We definitely follow the low-income community color guideline. So I think we meet their criteria based on that. So yeah, but that's to get into the events conversation at a later date. More importantly is the cleanup. The fun will happen when it happens. The community stuff will happen when it happens, but I think the cleanup is the priority. So there's that. Go ahead.
And I guess just from a practical standpoint, because we've looked at, another group on us has looked into a lot of those grants. Metro is really competitive, so since people have lack of capacity, I mean, it's including writing these grants, because EPAP is pretty competitive too. So writing these long grants, and some of these grants will also ask, how did you manage your finances the last 2 years? And they'll ask to look at your budget to see, you know, did $8,000 disappear during 1 year or whatever? They're gonna go and look to see like what capacity do you have, including are you going to be able to pay for stuff looking ahead, because now the city's getting tighter and they expect reimbursement. They need to see receipt and then reimbursement. They're not being as generous as they were back when LNA was able to save up $12,000 because they allowed people to sort of keep any extra unspent money. So they're getting a lot stricter about that. So it's not just a question of applying, it's also looking at, hey, how much capacity do we have to write this 5 to 6 page grant, you know, and what is our experience, you know, are we likely to get it, you know? So
And to your point, that's why I would like to open up the floor to any board members doing it, because if somebody doesn't have the capacity to do a 6 to 8 page grant, they shouldn't be made to, right? Like, I don't want to delegate that to one person and say, hey, you write 50 grants, because they might not have the time to do
Right.
that. But if everybody does a little, no one has to do a lot. And that's just as far as splitting the responsibilities. I don't think even for any of these committees or any events that we're doing or any of the efforts we're doing, whether it's note-taking, splitting secretarial duties, doing grants, that one person should absorb all of those responsibilities on their own if they don't have the capacity to do that. We're volunteers.
But just to keep it short, I guess the point is going back to sort of what Lorianne said too, and Robert said also, is getting community engagement. So you can't have one board member saying, oh, we're going to apply for Metro Grant and we're going to do an Asian festival when we don't have any Asian people. You know, you need to go and get the community feedback, or you can't. No, I'm saying is that you can't go, you have to get community input as to what you do. You can't have one person come in and say, oh, I applied for grant, guys, guess what? We got $10,000 and we're going to be doing fill in the blank. And we're there, well, and it's supposed to be community led, and then you wind up writing this grant that really we had no community or partnership buy-in before that. It takes about a month and a half to write a well-formed grant. So that's, we're not gonna get a $10,000 grant to have pizza at every meeting, because they're gonna consider that an operational expense. They're gonna be looking for what's a Lens Fair would probably get $10,000 or something like that. So I'm just making.
Okay, so go ahead.
I have a slightly different question. I know you're getting to Jason to talk about cleanups. I didn't hear anything about election in September. Is that happening? Is there information about open seats? Is there an election?
The open seat will be for the secretary position, and,
So
oh,
point
sorry, go
clarity
ahead.
on that. 13 seats in our charter, and then, so there should be a bunch of open seats, right?
I will defer to my more experienced board members.
They're optional at.
Are there any board members that want to answer the
You
question?
know that the bylaws are, there's like very optional.
We didn't fill any of the at-large because we barely filled this, and now people are already falling off. So yes, there's the secretary for sure, and there's definitely at-large positions that were always open and never filled this whatever month, April, May.
There's a reason I ask, because some of the seated board seats should be even on odd years, so there should be a bit of open primary seats in addition. And that's why I was asking if there's a committee or any kind of information on it. It should be happening in September, if I recall.
If you're interested in volunteering yourself for a committee, that might be something worth having a discussion about at the next board meeting, I think. But yeah, finding people, recruiting people has not been the easiest task. I found some people that were definitely qualified and they refused to put their name in the hat. They were like, I'm not putting my name down on this. So finding people that are willing to do this, and even the people who have been willing to do this, retaining them, not making them want to walk off, has been very challenging. So yeah, there's that. Yes.
Point of clarity, just to back up on Robert. I think what happened, though, is Mary and I were on the elections nominations committee, that what was decided is because the elections were so late, they were supposed to be held in October, as you know, and then it became March, and then it went off to May, that we're considering, we're going on and even like, we're adding a couple of months to everybody. So we're not doing like an odd, because you're right, according to the odd even thing, probably most of these people sitting there right now would be displaced because our elections are in September and we have odd and even years. Right now, I think the only person who's on 1-year term right now is land use and chairperson, and that's to fill in, but they're sort of like, because it was so late, that's the way, so we're not doing like an odd even, because like I said, we have 7 seats probably right now, because you go by odd and even.
So it would be possible for the LNA to put that in like the website so people can see it, because when I looked at it, I didn't see any information relative to what should be upcoming election. That makes sense?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Because it's in the bylaws, you're right.
And my understanding, what I remember is that we are still doing odd even,
Right,
but not until next year.
right, exactly. Not till September.
So does that make sense?
Yeah,
I mean,
So technically, and so technically, we're talking about this election right now, which I totally didn't think about because the thought of filling anything was not there because we weren't doing anything. We weren't changing anybody this year. And so, but now we need to fill the secretary, and you're not wrong that there are at large, like for when a secretary resigns, right?
Well, I guess I didn't see that in any minutes that I looked at.
It has not been talked about.
So then the bylaws should dictate that there's an election.
No, yeah, for sure. I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I'm saying nobody has thought about it. And the only reason it's being thought about or talked about before you brought it up just now is because Nancy resigned and we need a secretary. So
So what
it
is-
just has been like one thing after another.
Oh, yeah.
I bet you don't know. One thing after another, and like we barely make it to meetings with minutes. And so election, like it being September already is pretty wild,
Very much so, that's why I'm asking.
for sure.
I
But
was
yes,
asked-
no.
I was asked by a couple neighbors about this very thing, so.
But yes, I will make that post. I will track that down. I will find the email that mentions that we aren't switching this year. It was decided we weren't switching this year, but that the odd even would start again next year. I will get all of that and I will post all of that.
And I won't belabor this, but I don't understand when there's bylaws that dictate the actions of the composition of a board, and you just arbitrarily decide to follow that. I don't get that
That's,
part.
I'm not disagreeing with you. That was not decided by us. That was decided by the people who told us that we were doing this thing.
Yeah.
Was that Etna? Or Oni, or who was that that told you?
That would have been the interim board that sent out those emails.
That was two people.
I mean, we could go back and look at it at a later time and day too, and so maybe that could be something that we discuss at the next board meeting. And we can get all into that and when we'll be doing our September 2023 election and how we will go about recruiting a secretary for September. Sound good?
Did you want to apply for one of those empty seats?
I mean, I know a couple people I've been talking to about the next election that I was hoping would apply to some contested seats and things like that. So, I mean, I understood it kind of, it's automatic with the organization. So that's why not seeing a motion and an action that changes that, it's been curious to me because obviously I'm aware of the last kind of ad hoc interim board that did things and was like, don't worry, it'll be better later.
Yeah,
So where
we
that-
found
where
out
that ethical-
just the last month that a lot of things they told us were not true.
I knew that at the time.
Right,
So that's
just
why
the last month we found out.
That's why the
So
hope from the police folks that I talked to is, okay, where's bringing ethics back to the operations report? Where's that?
we're
So
really
without
trying.
knowing- Well, no, I actually respect that. I'm not suggesting
Really
anybody
trying.
should go away or anything like that. I'm just suggesting that there's supposed to be an election and that's where you would see that, right? The folks that question would see that with what has happened or not happened or what happens, right? So that's the reason I was
Yeah.
putting that.
Somewhere
And that
around
might be a better question also for EPCO, because I don't know that we're even in a position tonight per se to debate the election. What should happen, shouldn't have happened, this should have happened, that shouldn't have happened,
Or
or
backwards.
whatever,
no,
because
there's no way
this
to
is,
do it.
yeah, we're
Yeah, I agree with you. Going backwards
redundant
is irrelevant.
conversation, right?
You guys are actually officers on a nonprofit, so it is your decision, it's not anybody else's. Y'all are the ones in charge of operating and all the ethics that go with that. So it is y'all's decision, right? And I agree with you saying, we'll handle it in the board meeting, it's fine, I'll try to watch if I can, or what have you. But it's y'all's decision, and it's supposed to be next month. And, you know, I don't know, it just seems like a kind of important thing, so.
But if we needed a elections nominations committee, we would have needed one in place in June. So that's the issue, because then we come up like what happened last year, sort of when we only had 5 people, so, and an uncontested slate.
I just have to say that, I mean, having 5 people is better than having 0 people and then not getting it done. Because
Well,
nobody said in June, nobody said in May, when we got here, that we needed to have an elections committee for the following October. And if, so Thomas has answered the question of next election / board members this year / when they will need to be reelected, and says, our operating assumption was that we were running a special election and that elections would resume as per the bylaws and that those decisions were for the new elected board,
Which would be September.
which would
Would-
be September.
To the discretion of the board.
No,
So,
it's not a discretion.
well, no, I'm saying from what he was saying.
Oh.
That's what he said. He was under the assumption
Sorry,
that that's what, did I misquote him?
No, I
But,
got you. Sorry.
yeah,
Thank you.
um, So, great question. Let's try to get back to that at the next board meeting for sure. In the meantime, in between time, we need a secretary. If you guys know anybody, let's talk about it.
Well, we
'cause
we can't elect a secretary without this election.
Yeah, of
and
course,
we-
but we've had
If we
three-
have people here right now that want to do an election committee,
We've had 3 resignations since we started this
then
thing on
we,
up. Let's just get people.
then we
who
should
wanna
take
do
that
it.
right now, because if we wait until September 8th, then that's
Yeah.
only 19 days
This has
until
been tough.
when the election is supposed to happen.
Okay, okay, can we chair this issue
Well,
for
it's
the
time
next
sensitive.
board meeting? It's time sensitive in a sense. Is it our biggest priority at the moment when we have vacancies?
Well,
And you're
an
talking
election's
about
how you fill
contested
them.
seats? I don't know, but
I'm
let's
saying
just.
An election is
yeah.
how you fill them.
Yeah. Okay, so just in the interest of saving time, because we literally have 10 minutes. Sorry, go ahead, Ken. Do you want to say something or can we get to Jason?
Yeah, let's get to Jason.
Okay, 100% with you.
I don't have a lot to say about this. I mean, I know that this conversation's been happening for a lot of years about the Lynch monuments that people who have certainly put in lots of their own time and energy and obviously hope to build momentum so that we would be talking about this today. That never happened. I mean, for what it's worth, I think it's really unfortunate that ever fell to the LNA. The city just doesn't take care of it. I plan on doing some research and trying to understand things that I'm sure that there's other people maybe even in this room who really actually already do understand what EVA, but the city is not taking care of it. I don't understand that. I know that this one over here won't like, the west one won't like, because there was an accident, a truck crashed into the pole, so the electrical cords are still laying on the ground. I had never even considered the thought of just getting rid of it since they can't be maintained. That seems like a whole uphill battle in itself, but I'd almost rather see them paved than just some terrible shape as they're in. A couple weekends ago, I organized an effort to basically just take down the weeds. They were just in such bad shape. I mean, they still don't look good, but at least they don't have 6-foot weeds.
Yeah.
This one had, well, the west one.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I had a really good group of volunteers who helped, and we knocked it out about 2.5 hours, at least to the state that it is in. The tree pattern is like a real big problem there. They're all over in there, and the roots like really kind of network. So anyway, that it really needs to be dealt with by professional landscapers. There is a guy who responded to the LNA, the I Love Lens post I posted on there requesting volunteers. He said that he's a landscaper in Lens who's willing to put together a pro bono planting plan. I mean, I certainly think we should, I'll talk to him, see what we can get there. But I don't know how obviously that would be funded. And again, I would prefer if there's any way that it doesn't land on the LNA to support it and fund it and maintain it and all that kind of stuff. I think that would be the first route. Then the second, if the city, looking towards the city or PBOT to maintain it, be the first route, the second route would be the businesses and landscaping, if that would be like a possibility. The third, absolute last route would be like, LNA, budget. Anyway, so those are some thoughts. I do plan on putting together another one just to kind of knock down the big weeds, get it to a state. If you look at the pictures of those things when they were first planted, when they were in really good shape, I mean, if they look like that, it's really nice. I mean, those things are very important for our little community here.
Right.
They get a lot of traffic. There's also like the little triangle kind of where where traffic comes together, right, where Woodstock meets Foster right at the turn. That gets a ton of traffic too, and it's like hell also. I don't know why that's not maintained by the city. I'm not sure. I don't really understand why. So I plan on looking into that. Anyway, that's.
I have a question. Since you guys worked on and clear it out, you said that the roots are down inside and they're pretty invasive, so have to all be dug out then?
I actually went in there and did some roundup on just specifically on the tree of heaven. I don't know if that'll work or not.
Tree of Heaven is a very specific, takes very specific actions to eradicate it. If you just cut it or prune it, the roots
Spread.
go insane and they will grow through concrete.
Yeah.
It's a really evil plant. So
Which is why I
it's-
followed up with the roundup specifically on this, but who knows, we'll see. Hope not.
So what would you recommend?
I don't know, that's not my,
Okay.
and that's why I say we need a professional landscaper. I just, I mean, it was just so bad, something had to be done, so.
I think that's a great idea. Sorry, not to cut you off, but just piggybacking what you were saying about the landscaper, maybe if he's willing to donate some hours, we could supply like the roundup, the rakes, the shovels or whatever we need. Like we could supply the materials from the grants. So we have money available to do that. And then he could, in conjunction with however many volunteers did you get last time?
I think it was a total of 6 people.
Wow, that's better turnout than we've had. That's
Yeah.
not too shabby. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, if we could get 6 people and then you, me, and whoever on the board, that's like at least 10 people that we could get. We can knock it out really quick. And then plus the landscaper dude, maybe we can donate the materials and then like nobody's getting compensated labor wise. This is strictly volunteer, but we would like supply lunch maybe and some waters and things like that. To incentivize people also, like you get a free meal and then they can come out and help with that as well. So whenever you are planning the next one, could we maybe discuss a little further about the committee and then like making it an official LNA thing, if that's okay? I don't want to step on your toes or take your shine or your credit or anything.
I'm not looking for credit, any help would be totally appreciated.
When were you planning on doing the East Mall?
I would think maybe a couple, 2-3 weeks out. Sometime where it's still warm, but not raining.
I would like, I'd be interested to see that landscaper that reached out to you, if you would ask him, this person, to put that plan together and maybe even bring it in here, either to a board meeting or a general meeting. But we can hire a landscaper if that's what we decide to do with those funds. But I would like to see, like, at least his plan and see the idea and maybe even some kind of a general idea, like, if not you, what would we be looking at paying somebody else to do something like this?
Yeah. Well, and one other comment is, I would suggest possibly, the planting plan is going to require an extra layer of complexity because then they have to be watered. So there's the irrigation, which I think is, it's definitely shut off and I think it may even be broken. And so until it's actually funded and maintained by the city, it may just be best to just take out all the plants, and, get it all roots killed and then just put in like landscaping cloths and bark dust.
That's a good idea. And just to piggyback off what you were saying too, Jasmine, I think it would be super awesome if we could have like a quarterly landscaper professionally, because they know how to remove the tree of heaven and all of the invasive species and stuff like that. We take some of those funds, we set them aside for a quarterly landscaper or something of that nature, and then we use the rest of the funds for the dumpsters and get the cleanup going.
I think that is just where the neighborhood association in general has enabled Lents to be really lazy about taking care of, and the businesses to be involved with like those things.
Yeah, no, we would.
So I
would
think
do
we
the
should make
initial
them-
cleanup, But
yeah.
they would maintain it.
For sure. Make
Like a
them pay for it.
professional person that knows how to get those weeds out, knows how to get all of that invasive stuff out, that we're gonna come, and then 2 weeks later, it's gonna be back looking crazy if we don't get it out right. And so I don't want the efforts to be futile, but sorry.
But I thought the cleanup grant was to clean up.
It is.
But how did you allocate the money? We have allocation for planting too under a cleanup grant?
I'm just saying that we may. I don't know if we do or
Because
not.
did you have
There's
to-
several grants available in the
Oh, okay.
Portland metro area, so I'm saying we could try to
Oh,
get some
okay.
money
Yeah.
for that,
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah, different grant.
And so
Okay,
if we're thinking solution-based, the
Yeah.
solution would be to look for some money for that. And
Yeah.
yeah, that would be
Extra money from another grant, but not from the.
from wherever. We would try to figure it out. We've already made in one event enough money that we could probably pay for a couple hours of landscaping. So maybe we are doing a raffle or something at our next event, whatever. We get creative, we think of solutions, we don't harp on problems. We just start thinking of what we can do to make it
It's
better.
not part of our-
No, I'm not saying you are. I'm saying what we would like to
Yeah,
do.
Yeah, I'm just saying about ethics. in the sense that
That's
if
very
you apply
ethical.
for a grant,
Yeah.
for one thing, you shouldn't then be using the
Mhm.
money for something
Right.
else, because they include the grant for that, and some are trust-based, and yeah, the trust-based one, but we still need to
Right.
be trustworthy, even though they're not
Right.
asking for receipts. But I know some grants will throw it out if you say that you're spending it for this, and then you show up for that, and it's like,
Right.
sorry, you all, the board, because you're the ones who approved that allocate, you all are gonna be then responsible
Right,
for that money.
right,
you know,
right.
And that could wind up being a pretty penny. you know?
Okay, so go ahead, and then we'll get to the next thing because we have 4 minutes.
Yes, you have space for announcements.
Yes, can we do them briefly?
Yeah.
Awesome, go for it.
So tomorrow is the informational session for the East Portland Action Plan's Community Support Fund grant, $3,000. Just show up online and JR talks you through the process. If you have any interest in grants, it's a great opportunity. Secondly, there are outlets along Main Street here for lights. It would be pretty cool if come winter with lights there. So it just requires a little effort because you gotta find out who can hang the lights and then put the power to them, et cetera. And there's been a need in the community for a first aid CPR class. If you have excessive funds, it might be an excellent thing. The trainers within the Scouts and Red Cross and all that can do a particularly fair-sized class at a very low cost. So
The class for what?
CPR.
first
Oh.
aid.
I love those ideas. I think that was wonderful. And hopefully, we can get back to that light situation because it's gonna be hard to call us felling flat when they see our amazing beautification and our cleanup and our
Well, this
Christmas
is
lights.
funny, that's.
Well, they have the reputation.
That way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but people on the
Schematics,
West knows it.
yeah,
It's not
but
fancy,
to
yeah.
anyone on the west side of Portland, it's all
You know, it's
one.
the West Side.
Yeah.
East Side.
I'm with you all the way. I've lived on the east side my whole life. Okay, so, sorry, did you have anything else?
Nope.
Okay, cool.
The big one is the event, just show up online if you have questions.
I'm gonna write that down too, yeah.
And it's
Sounds
the
good.
East Portland Action Plan website, look on the calendar, you just click it, the link is there, it's about the simplest thing you can do. And that particular grant is something we've worked for many years to make it accessible. Does have criteria, but they're not hard.
We need all the help we can get around here. Okay, so lovely, wonderful. This has been good. All right, so we will just go on into the discussion items, which we will not have a ton of discussion on because we are out here in 2 minutes. So, moving forward, can we just take a really quick vote about moving the board meetings to Zoom exclusively, no in person for board meetings? I would like to propose a motion that we move the board meetings to, in Zoom exclusively. This is also in consideration of one of our board members who has been ill and family member dealing with long COVID and just consideration of, convenience also with the time that we shifted to. Nobody has to rush here or drive across the bridge or anything like that, so, I would like to propose the motion to, move our board meetings to Zoom.
Board meetings only.
Board meetings only, general meetings in person. Does anybody want to second the motion? Okay, well, it looks like that motion dies. We'll continue to meet in person. With that being said, we also need to discuss maybe rotating, picking up the keys and back to some of the secretarial duties, also delegating who's going to do what. Because it seems like the simple thing to do would just be Zoom because it's automatic, it's recorded, we're all on there. It's easier to maybe take the minutes from that versus doing all of this. I don't know that Jasmine wants to continue to be the person to do that. And it seems a little more transparent, but okay, we'll move on. And then Bureau of Environmental Studies is doing the, wait, hold on a second. Yeah, the West Linz and Springwater Floodplain Project update. They will be joining us for our next general meeting. They're doing cleanup and restoration and all of that good stuff with West Linz and Springwater floodplain project to get a lot of the houses and business out of like flood zone, basically. And so they were awarded some money, and I don't know exactly how much, but they'll be here to tell us, and they're going to do a presentation at our next general meeting all about the money and how they're going to allocate it in Linz to clean up the spring water and West Linz. And then City of Portland Bureau of Planning and Sustainability is doing dumpster day. Monica Kelly was supposed to join us for a conversation about public trash and special events. However, she was unable to attend, so we will get back to that at a later date. And yeah, our next board meeting is September 8th from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. This meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Robert, did you have a question regarding the
I was just
Zoom?
gonna offer that some associations, do an audio recording and post that as their minutes.
Do a what?
Audio recording and then post that as their minutes.
I would love that, but our audio sucks right now.
Well, you have to, for some reason.
Microphone.
Yeah. All righty then. Thank you for coming.
Thank you,
I
Robert.
can't believe how dark it got this early. It never gets dark this early. This is starting to feel like fall
I'm
already.
so excited.
It's been dark for like 45 minutes.
I'm so excited. I'm so I freaking hate summer. My family want to go to the stupid river today and be outside in the stupid sun and be hot all day. Ugh.
I haven't had enough order days this summer.
I have. Unless it's a real beach, don't waste my time.
Yeah, so hopefully this letter solicits some kind of